I think it has made a lot of artists this season.
Really?
And the way the audience consumes music, their attention span, so many things have changed.
Do you feel like there's any pressure? Because I know that your fan base is always coming with an expectation of questions and some quick answers.
I'm going to ask you.
You're going to ask me?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it, go for it.
Good. I kept singing Namaskaram, Namaskaram, and I did. Close the concert.
Oh my God, I'm giggling. It was the funniest memories for me. Very embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
நடுவுல ஒருத்தர் எழுந்தார் இந்த மாதிரி ஆயிடுத்து வாட் வில் யூ டூ அப்படின்னு லவுடா சிரிச்சுட்டேன்
Pabani pabani pabama bani bani pabama pamani pama sani pama pama gama pama risa pama risa ni pama risa sani pama risa pama pa risa pa risa marisa pama risa ni pa sani marisa sani pama jagada karaka jaya janaki prana nayaka jagada
Welcome to the very first edition of Carnatic Roundtable, a very special feature for the December Margazhi Carnatic music season that's coming up. We have some of the most eminent leading stars of Carnatic music today. Starting from my right, Srimati Aruna Sairam, Srimati Sudha Ragunathan, Srimati Gayatri and Srimati Ranjani, and this is a hugely fortunate moment for not just for me but everyone watching, that everyone is together. They've taken time out for this one of a kind roundtable session. Thank you all for joining us. It is an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. We also wanted to have some fun.
Absolutely. Before the intense season starts, huh? Yeah. Season is here. How's the Josh? How's the vibe?
With this excuse, I should thank you because I get to see Aruna Mami. I get to, discuss many things. I'm looking forward to this discussion with Sudhaji and Aruna.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Normally during a season we hardly get to interact because only we're all holed up in our homes practicing, doing concerts, getting ready.
Absolutely.
This is really nice.
Absolutely. And we must thank the premise that we are at, Sundari Silks, for helping arrange all of this. It's a beautiful place. And kindly also have sponsored all our the sarees and making everyone look so beautiful, and my kurta as well. So huge shout out to Sundari Silks. Let's begin with the music season, one of a kind in Chennai. I mean, the biggest music season I believe in the world happens right here in Chennai, and all of us, all of you are leading the face of it, the face of the Chennai music season today. And your association goes back a long time. It's been so many years. I'd like to begin with you, Aruna ji. Your association, I know you've had a tremendous journey with the season. You're from Bombay, as are both of you as well. And I'd like to hear about your fondest memories of the Carnatic music season, your earliest memories, and how you look back on it now after so many years.
The earliest memories of the season is me prancing around the corridors as a kid because my parents were great, listeners of music. So we used to come every season. So it was great fun to just listening to the wafts of music from the auditorium while I'm just having a good time in the corridors, and then get a glimpse of all the greats who would, pass by the VIP entrance of the Music Academy and so on.
That's right.
But never, of course, did I imagine that I would be on the stage one day, but that did happen. And so it's a very, very beautiful journey.
Absolutely. It almost feels like my journey because I remember about 10-15 years ago, I would be in the corridors of Music Academy in Nagar, and I'd see all of you sometimes just in the crowd where everyone is just surrounding them and trying to take some autograph or selfie or whatever, and I would just look at them and like, here we are. It's been such a beautiful experience for me. Sudhaji, how about you? You've been...
For me, I think the season memories are with MLV Amma, my guru, because I started singing with her, vocal support, and I used to sing the afternoon slots then. So every evening I used to, prance around, I would say trot, behind my guru, and I was playing the tambura mostly the first year, which was like 78 or maybe just 80.
Okay.
So that's my fondest memory and
Right.
very precious memory, because she received the Sangeeta Kalanidhi the year that I started to train from her with the national scholarship, the advanced training scholarship.
That's right.
So I think they are very precious memories, and as Aruna ji said, we always used to wait for stars to come to the corridor or a side stage or the wings, as you call it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And remember the canteens.
And we didn't have phones then, right? So it was never like, can I take a selfie with you? Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah.
It was like just getting their darshan.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So true. So true.
And of course, then it's been like, noon concert and then
That's
sub-senior
right.
and the senior.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Gayatrika?
First season was in 1988, and we played our first concert during the Margazhi in Chennai. It was a violin concert, of course. Both of us played the violin, and there were a lot of musicians whom my father invited, and they were all sitting. And of course, that was only one concert, but the next day we used to go at 5 a.m. for the Veedi Bhajane around Mylapore tank. Our day started there.
Yeah.
Then it finished with Rayer's cafe, a breakfast idli and sambar chapluvom. Then go to the academy for the morning sessions, hang around, sleep a little bit when people were talking a lot, and listen to concerts the whole day. We had each other for company, so it was very fun. Of course, the season since then has taken a lot of twists and turns. The violin duet journey became where we also accompanied people along the way, and the unexpected twist of us starting to sing one day, and all of that has happened. And I also remember standing gazing at the stars, at the eminent musicians from a distance, and it's nice to occupy the center stage and to share the music as the curtains part at the academy.
Yeah.
It's a very indefinable moment,
I'm sure.
full of anticipation, excitement.
I'm sure.
You're pumped up,
Yeah.
and there's also a little nervousness, but when the first sa is established, you're in your zone. Nothing else matters. It's magic. Every time it's magic.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. And Ranjani?
Well, for me, the first season was always a memorable and cherishable memory for me, because the whole routine, me coming to another place, because Ruma Longa, till then we have never really visited a place in Chennai, lived there for say 10 days or like things like that. Never. Been only in Mumbai. So at a stretch, living outside my home was first of all a very thrilling experience, and then on top of that, getting up at 5 and then doing all those rounds every day, that itself gave a kind of a high for me.
I'm sure.
The morning Adhan, Gayatri Chunna Madri, the Veedi Bhajanai, and then everything else. We had our day packed.
Yeah.
So by the time we went to our bed, we used to be like out like that. So that is something, and I remember that that was the year we performed for the first time in '88. I don't remember really looking forward to seeing the stars as such, but yeah, the music that happened in academy, in Nardagan Sabha, in all these eminent places, I remember certain ragas, certain impressions that I got. It's all associated with music, not with anything other, and no other paraphernalia really carries in my mind.
I must tell you about the canteens as well.
Yeah, I was bringing that up.
Yeah. And then
They were the most exciting places to hang around in.
Sabha hopping,
That's true.
and the rating of the canteens, where masala vada is good and where bonda is good.
And if you wanted to know how a particular artist did in a concert, all you had to do is go to the canteen, because all the vidwans would be sitting there and they would be discussing and tearing apart all the concerts.
Are you serious?
In between the pongal and the idli. So you just had to overhear.
Literally dissecting.
And you learned a lot also from those experiences, because the way they analyzed, and they would give reasons why they thought a certain thing was good or bad or whatever. and you really learnt a lot. Also had fun, but
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, the day would be packed. I remember my first season when I came just to listen, and I was in high school at that time. That's when I was just getting into Carnatic music, and I had my day, like you said, packed from the morning, and it was such a beautiful sort of a thing. Like even when right before December holidays, I'd pack my whole schedule so that in the morning we'd have the lectums, and then the junior concerts, and then all that stuff, and then where to eat, and then like Mama and like so many other people, the connoisseurs of the Chennai scene here would guide me. Anga sambar janam venam na anga romba nalla kadikum nardagan sabal, and then I'd have to go all the way there just for the sambar chadam, even if I didn't want to listen to the artist, and then come back. It was a beautiful experience.
Yeah, nowadays on certain days there are more crowd in the canteens than inside.
So would you make out a tableau for yourself, where what to do, when?
Yeah. Luckily, I grew up with the internet, so for me, like Google Maps, Google, Calendar was there, so I could just I'd get notifications saying, okay, Aruna ji at 4 p.m, Sudha ji at 7 p.m, the next day Ranjani Gayatri at 4 p.m, and then someone else at 7 p.m. So I'd get those things immediately. So I was blessed in that sense, and I think now it's even better because you have apps and all that stuff. At that time, this is 10 years ago, we just had the websites. So my next question is to you, Sudha ji. You've been part of the season for quite a few years, and you've been at the top of your game every season, consistently, and you perform at all the top sabhas, and you see a similar sort of a demographic in your audience every year during the December season, I'm saying, and the same sabhas every year, but you still get the crowds and all the adulation, the love. How do you do it? What is it that how do you keep it fresh every year? Because I'm sure there's times when you say, what new can I do?
True.
It's every year and the same sabhas, and it's almost kind of the same demographic. What kind of an audience is going to be there. How do you keep things fresh?
Yeah, even before we came to this round table, me and Aruna ji were talking about this. How we managed over the last few decades.
Yeah.
What was it that we did? How did we prepare ourselves? It's quite tedious. I'm definitely telling you, it's not such an easy task at all.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it's probably a 50% of the same audience who keep coming for your concerts, right? So you have to improvise, and both repertoire. There are some who keep asking for your, for their favorites.
Yeah.
And you do honor them, but still, I think somewhere the season reflects on how we take our art form forward. It's important. I think it has made a lot of artists, the season.
Really?
And I think we have to have some gratitude for the season in large, at large. Not just one sabha, but the several sabhas that you have been performing at.
That's right.
So definitely I would place my gratitude to the season.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's very inspiring to hear.
Absolutely.
So it's the prep work, a bit of prep work, and of course, our music is always like what you create over there, what triggers you, what inspires you.
Yeah.
So I think it just happens when you are so involved and committed to your art, and you're passionate about what you sing. That is the link that keeps you connected to every audience.
Lovely. Wonderful. Arunaji, my next question is to you. In your career, you've seen it all. I mean, you've talked about it quite a few times, where you started your career and, it was this relatively a slower start, professionally I'm saying, where you have said in many interviews that you sing to empty halls, and I'm sure somewhere that does affect an artist, because we're all looking to share what we know with someone else. I think that for a performing artist, that's very important. And then you saw the soaring success, and the highs and how. People couldn't stop talking about, the sensation that you were. And so you've seen it all. Now when you look back at your career, what is it that you feel? And to someone like me, who's a younger artist, who's not only passionate about music, but also driven to make music a profession. And so many of us, especially within, the industry of Carnatic music, what would you say, well, now looking back at your career and all the highs and the lows that you've seen, what would you pass on to people like us?
Everything comes down to the same thing as Sudhaji said, that when I decided that I was going to become a serious performer and give my shot at coming to Chennai and performing here, that was itself a late decision. Then when I started coming, and I started doing concerts, I realized that although I have the knowledge, I had learned from one of the greatest gurus you can imagine. How can you even imagine becoming a disciple of Srimati Brinda? I mean, she was such an exclusive person, you know, but she had chosen to take me on as a student. So all of that was very precious. But with all that, when you are on the stage, when you're sharing something that you have imbibed with an audience, you have to understand that you are actually serving something to them, and you have to have that humility to know that they are also setting aside so many other priorities to come out there and listen to you.
Yeah.
So you cannot sit on a high horse and say, this is highbrow music, I know this and I will sing this. You take it or leave it. That's not the attitude. This is what I learned over the years with my experience. And the moment I started understanding that what should I do to actually communicate with people, that made the difference. But I remember my first concert, Brindama was the one who, actually I was registered to be a competitor in the academic competitions.
Okay.
And she suddenly, over a weekend, she decided, she said, Aruna, you're not competing in the competitions, you're going to perform the junior most concert.
Wow.
So it's with her blessings, her, you know, she saw something in me, which I didn't see till much later.
Yeah.
But once you see it, you know that it's all about sharing whatever little you know with utmost honesty and humility is a cliched word, but that's how it is.
It's beautiful. Beautiful to hear that. Absolutely. Ranjani, I wanted to ask you, you know, the last couple of years, I mean, your season concerts, everyone is talking about, you know, all the innovative things that you've been doing. But this year especially has been, I mean, just monumental for you in your career, because you had a tremendously successful tour with Raja by Raga. And that was something that just, I think, took music at large by storm, because I think the numbers that you saw and the kind of, and one of the most beautiful things that came out of it was the fact that you were able to take this music to people who would not normally be, you know, exposed to a full-fledged 2.5 hour, 3 hour Carnatic kacheri. And so now it's like a beautiful entry point. Do you think that's relevant in today's times? Do you think that's something that is needed? How important do you think it is to make you know, these collaborations and, you know, branch out and you know, think outside the box a little bit, so that Carnatic music reaches you know, more of an audience, and especially in today's times of social media and all that stuff?
This looks like a motherhood statement, but I have never looked at my journey in music as a career at all, or as a professional, never. So it has just panned out like that.
Yeah.
So I never had any burden of, you know, having certain goals, to set certain goals. For me, it was all fun and fun in that sense. In the professional, no stress at all, because the journey was my destination. I would speak for both of us. That itself gave us a lot of pleasure, that we are able to engage in what we do, and what we do resonates with the public.
Yeah.
With the listeners, and that is something that, you know, looking back, I feel very, very blessed that I have been right from the beginning having this kind of a journey where what I sing, what I want to share, or even Gayatri, resonates with people. So that is something that's a blessing. But as talking about Raja by Raga, it was also an accident. Raja sir wanted us to present a concert, a Carnatic music concert, because he loved our music. That's where it all started. Yes. And he was, so we got into a conversation. We asked him, sir, ungalku ennallam pidikum? What would you like us to sing? So he was saying actually Nagumomo, all his favorites he was saying. But then Gayatri and I thought that just merely singing a classical music concert it is okay, but we should do something very special to commemorate his 80th birthday. So we did a lot of homework, research, And then, of course, Gayatri's contribution immensely, I must acknowledge. And
you asked a very interesting question, thinking out of the box. And I don't think thinking out of the box is something that you do for special curated concerts. It is something that you do every time you sing. You can't take a raga for granted, whether I'm singing a Mohanam or a Jyoti Swarupini or a Shuddha Sarang or a Shyam Kalyan, in which I have sung Pallavis. Every time you approach a raga, there is a rule book all of us have learnt. You know the grammar of a raga, but you have to let it go. You have to learn to soar and fly in the space of a raga.
Yeah.
The rules are there, they're embedded, that you know, but you can't hold the rule book and sing it. You have to learn to fly. A raga can only empower you to tell you that this is what you should not be doing, and this is the general area of the raga. It will not teach you to fly, that you will have to. It has to come.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a combination of grace, maybe it's a combination of you seeking it. But you have to seek it every time you sing. You have to seek for that indefinable, inexpressible moment.
Yeah.
So for me, it is an everyday thing. Every day I sing, whether I'm singing in any space, letting the creative fire burn inside you is like oxygen to me in music. It doesn't matter whether it's a Raja by Raga or whether it's some special concert. Every time I sing, I have to challenge myself to sing something that touches me.
That actually beautifully leads into my next question for you, which was that, you're known to every season after season, there is just something very innovative that you're coming up. That technical brilliance is just off the charts. Last couple of years we've heard about, the Grabedam that you're doing in your concerts, and, the Dvi Tala, the multi-Tala, multi-Raga Pallavis, and then Dvi Madhyama Ragams and all that stuff. Do you feel like there's any pressure? Because I know that your fan base is always coming with an expectation now, saying, okay, I wonder what she's going to do this time. Do you ever feel like, first of all, is there pressure to always reinvent yourself and always come up with something? And also, somewhere, do you also feel like you might run out of ideas at some point?
I feel it all the time. When I was young, I always cried bitterly as I went to the exam. No, fail admin. That's my personality.
I can vouch for that. She is her worst critic all the time, and everybody around would say, what happened? You sang such a brilliant concert. No. I thought I should sing that, but only she would know that. And I don't know from where she gets these kind of, always self-critical ideas.
I don't care about the audience. I care about them, that I think the best way I can serve them is to serve music, right? That's what they have come seeking for.
Yeah.
I don't have to please them, I have to please the God inside of the music. That's it. So I believe that, I live that every moment. Expectation from myself is the biggest cliff that I keep climbing every day. It's never ending. The whole world will be praising me. In the academy, people lifted me. And I think it helped that I'm light. But and when we stepped out of the green room, there was a roar that went and people started shouting. But for me, it's in a matter of seconds I move away from all that, and I stay with the music, because that is where it all started and that is where it will take me. The music has to lead me, and I'm very clear on that. Everything else is incidental. So I don't move away from my mistakes very easily, but I move away from the good moments very easily. So that is something I need to learn. I need to be, all my dear ones tell me I need to be kinder to myself, but it also keeps me on that journey, because the moment you get complacent and say that I've done enough, that's it, you're done for.
So what percentage were you on, and what point are you in right now?
Oh, I'm like a mad fury charged up for the season, thinking up 20 ideas a minute.
No, about this
her.
being kind to yourself.
I'm not. I still cry
Any
after
improvement?
No
improvement, is it?
I'm going to a dark depression after a bad concert.
Oh no.
It takes everyone's joint efforts to pull myself out of it, so it's very hard. It's very hard.
So you are the motivating force.
Yes, I am.
She does a lot. She keeps me grounded. She keeps me happy. She says, you did great. Nobody knew, but I have to get the grief and disappointment out of my system. It takes time.
Interesting.
It takes time to accept yourself.
For sure.
With all whatever you are, good, bad, and your pluses and minuses.
But I
It
wouldn't
takes time
use
to.
such a serious term as grief or disappointment.
It is exactly.
Well, you fall short.
For her, it is so personal.
But
It is
for me,
so
there was
personal,
one
and she
turning
takes-
point which sort of changed my perception of my own self. Once in the academy itself, I had done a concert, and then I was in shock because after a concert, there's a time when you're numb. You don't know what you really did.
True.
And so, wading through the crowds and all that, which was a humongous thing. It was almost like 45 minutes or 1 hour after the concert. Adutha kacheri it's starting and all that. I come out and there I see almost everybody is like left. Sheikh Aruna Sairam standing there. Now a Vidwan of his stature standing there, and he says, Amma, I wanted to meet you. I said, my God, why would he want to meet me? Like, I venerate him like that. Then he said, look, after the concert you did today, if I didn't wait here and if I didn't tell you how much I liked it and how good you were, I would be failing my duty as a musician. And from that day, it gave me a big high. I said, okay, if a person of his stature can believe in you, then I got to believe in myself.
Incredible.
So that self-satisfaction or belief is very elusive. It doesn't come.
Yeah, it's two-edged sword. Once it keeps you, always recharged and refreshing your music. It keeps you. But the price that you pay is a little bit heavy, but I'm okay with it.
I also had a question about each of you have your iconic pieces that your artists or your fans are always coming to the concert for. And no matter what, they'll start. I've been to each one of your concerts, and there's always the people who will yell out Kurundrumile, Madumekam Kanna, Abhangs and Viritam, and of course there's you have fans for all of the other stuff that you do also. But there is always that very excited crowd who's there for that, and especially for both of you because Kurundrumile and Madumekam Kanna, you've been singing it for quite a few years. Those pieces, especially then Tilana. How do you strike a balance in terms of, I'm sure at times you must be like, I'm done with this. I want to. And I've heard some of your earlier concerts, and there's so many beautiful pieces that you used to sing, but now I'm sure you don't get to sing that because there's also time, restriction, and how do you strike?
No, but as far as the season goes, I think we are somewhere on our own. Okay. Take our own decisions, and people also understand and respect that it's your space. You decide what to do.
Okay.
So there's
there's not as many requests and stuff like that during the season.
There are requests, but not requests for the same that they've heard.
Okay.
For newer stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
So I think it evens out.
See, that's what there's something very special about the season. For sure, all music connoisseurs and people who are ardent fan of Carnatic music make sure to come to Chennai. So you won't, the demography of the audience during that time is very different from the normal days, the normal part of the year. So here people are really very serious about what you are doing. They want to listen to your expression in a very deepest way. They don't come, they are not, coming to have a good time.
Absolutely.
And they also remark that you sang this in this concert.
And they have a small diary, a small journal.
And for reference, they'll also have the sari color written down on the side. Anniki in the color la sari potunda, anniki in the pallavi ninga paadnal, so adu vandu ninga adu marla vera irukku. All that also happens.
Hilarious. Now coming to the last couple of years, we've had the pandemic, which largely affected the Carnatic music, the world of Carnatic music, because I think classical music in India largely is very performance oriented. We don't, as artists, we don't rely on streaming royalties or mechanical rights and songwriting rights and all that stuff. It's more performance. It's very largely performance oriented and live performance. That's where your fans are able to meet you and listen to you and all that stuff. Of course, that was hugely impacted the last couple of years. Only I think last year was when things truly were back in full form. Absolutely. How was that? Do you see any change now that you've gone back to the performance scene in the season, even otherwise throughout the rest of the year? Is there any change? And each one of you also held on very beautifully to music during the pandemic. Also, you had virtual concerts with Voncerts, which was a huge success. You had the interview series Expressions Espresso, which again with all of the stars. And you had the Aruna Says series, which was a huge hit, especially on Instagram, with all your lessons and your life stories and all that stuff. So, but now coming back to the performance scene, do you see any change in how the audience is perceiving your music? or
For sure.
is there
There
an
is a
expectation that you'll always
No,
stream the
expectation
concerts,
has not
anything like that?
changed. I mean, as far as Carnatic music lovers are concerned, their expectation from artists, I won't say that it has changed, but the way the audience consumes music, the way their attention span, so many things have changed. Their habits have changed. So this COVID has actually made fundamental changes to people's lives, their behavior, their habits,
Yeah.
their likes and dislikes, and so many other things, behavioral things. So it's a very serious thing.
Yeah.
I think this season will be the first big mega event after the COVID. I think the last year was okay, but this year it's been. I
Last year
believe.
people were still unwilling to travel.
Yeah, now I think it is truly opened up. So we
Yeah.
will see.
Yeah. Did you miss it when it was, when you were going through, like during December? I remember there was still some concerts where you remotely had to go and film some concerts and all that stuff. But did you miss it? I'm sure you must have
Well,
missed
very
the
first year I was very happy because it was like freedom, liberation. No tension, no stress.
Okay.
Just sit back.
You
and
could eat anything you want that
watch
whole month.
movies,
There's
eat
no
anything you
stress.
want, drink anything you want.
Lovely.
Yeah, but then after that it was like you were missing something that was close to your heart.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as Ranjani said, this season might show us where we stand.
Awesome.
There's been a hybrid of activity, some online concerts,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some online as well as live.
True.
Somewhere I think online has to stop.
Okay.
Absolutely, I'll second that. I think just
Yes.
people wanting or feeling
That
entitled,
yearning, yeah.
and just
has to
because
come.
they live away and they're not able to travel, for them to, it's not wrong, it's reasonable for them, it's understandable that they want to hear the music, but it is not fair that they expect it to be served on online
Yeah.
platforms. It's not right, it's not reasonable. So I would say that all concerts, I mean, I'm talking
Yeah.
about even the younger artists, their concerts, we should stop streaming it. People should not be served room service of music or that kind of a thing. It's extremely damaging to the ecosystem.
Interesting.
It needs to stop forthwith, and I don't know if this is the right forum to make that request, but I think all the sabas that generally take it as a matter of course to web stream and claim that 4,000 people are watching. It's okay, we can do without the 4,000 people, let 400 people come to the hall. There has been a serious decline in audience attendance, I
Okay.
can say that, and it's very, very sad.
Yeah.
Maybe the stars still get a full house,
Yeah.
but that where people were thronging and didn't get a seat inside and there were TV monitors outside, they were sitting in the aisles, it is nearly full now. And the decline is happening. People don't step out. People are they are not used to the activity of coming out and submitting to a concert experience.
Yeah.
It needs to come
Somewhere
back.
a lethargy has set in.
I see.
I do see that
They
as
call
well.
it
Yes.
social anxiety. The reluctance to even dress up and leave your home. Many people are going through that.
But I think it's important that connect between audience and artist happens only in life.
Very true. Very true. You feed off each other, right?
This art
Very
form
true.
This
thrives
is the
in
vibration.
live.
Absolutely.
When you are in the
Yeah.
presence, physical presence of an artist,
Absolutely.
you see the vocalist and the violinist exchange glances, the percussionist, taking a cue, anticipating, that synergy, that vibration. Where are you going to
More
put it
importantly,
in
that
this
experience
Absolutely.
actually, as an
No
audience,
way.
you are a part of.
Yeah, you are a part of that
You are-
performance
yes.
as an audience.
Of that magic that happens.
Yeah, especially in classical music, because it is everything is determined right at that
On the spot, everything
with
is
pop music, it's
momentary.
like you still know exactly what to expect as an audience. But with classical
Yes.
music, you have no
In
idea.
real-time music, yeah.
It's completely real-time music. So that's a very beautiful sort of an atmosphere that we create.
But that's
And I think that
probably
should not
why
be dropped here.
the question leads up to the question you
yeah.
asked, Sudhaji. Doesn't she sing that piece concert after concert? But that's because every time she sings it, she's interpreting at something different to it,
Very true. Very true.
based on her mood of that day
Very true.
or her feelings of that day. And that's why it's ever young. There's no question
true.
of
Very true.
something being repeated again and again. It's never like that.
You were saying something?
There was one light music industry lens, somebody who wanted to know if I was using auto-tune on stage. So how is it so perfect? How are you using auto-tune? Go check out. So, it's we need people to sensitize themselves that this is music happening in real time, and the magic of that, the experience of that, I think the fullness of it is only realized when people start coming back. So I hope that happens.
And that energy, you know, that invisible energy.
Absolutely.
You feel so charged. After a concert, I'm sure it takes a while to unwind, right?
Correct. நான் சொல்லுவேன் for classical art form பாடுறவா மட்டும் சரஸ்வதி இல்லை, கேட்குறவா எல்லாருமே சரஸ்வதி அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா? அது நிறைய பெரிவா நம்ம சொல்லி கேட்டிருக்கோம்.
So now coming to, you know, we're at Sundari Silks, which has of course you know, been a partner in creating this for the first time ever, this monumental moment with, you know, all the stars of Carnatic music and the leading performers. And talking about Sundari Silks, you know, they each one of you are known for your style and, you know, your fashion statements that you make, especially during the season. I'm sure like everyone's heard about how people come to check out what new piece of jewelry Sudhaji is wearing, or the sophisticated sarees that you are wearing, or the contrast, the new color contrast and combinations that you guys are wearing. I'm sure that must be a big part of your season planning. And how many months does it take? I know you've told me that it takes quite a few months for you to plan because of the...
It is true. That's something that we do with a lot of reluctance. That's like...
But it really requires months.
Order பண்ணிட்டு வரணும் இல்லையா? Because we are made to order.
அது வந்த அப்புறமா அது நம்மளுக்கு பிடிக்கணும். அது யாருக்கான ஒருத்தருக்கு அது பிடிக்காது.
So what happens in that case?
We have to wear it. What to do?
Okay.
So if you see us wearing some little bit gaudy, because we believe that when you sit on stage, it is the sophisticated subtle art form ka suit aano na. I feel that this is my feeling. So it has to be understated so that the music stands in front. The musical thing, it gets built up. So I don't like very very flashy enakku pidikadu. So sometimes the sarees come out, you don't expect that. Romba gold ah irukum. Ayyo, I never asked for it, but then it's already made. Then you feel that, oh, they have taken all the trouble and done. Then you wear it once and you dump it because you don't want to wear it ever again. So it happens to also, if you ever see us wear a saree which is not quite our style, you know that
brand,
why we wore it.
But I think I differ from her. No understatements at all. Once you're on stage, just be your best.
No, I had the same here. Because I grew up watching my mother. You know, my mother used to Krishna Radha every week alangaram panva.
Okay.
You know, so she used to have a huge wardrobe for Krishna.
Okay.
And every time it used to be like over the top dressing of him. So I grew up that way. So for me, there's no understatement.
So
everything is like
my guru used to
up there.
Yes,
All of that.
vibrant colours.
We've heard, we've heard the stories.
So, and you know, like the whole day should be in some kind of worn out clothes. You know, some kind of drab stuff. And then at 6 o'clock you see a totally different avatar of MLV Amma. So I think it's somewhere kind of gone into
And
me.
also we grew up watching MS Amma. I mean, she was like known for, you know, the colors that she brought in, and you know the way she would dress. You know. So
as I said earlier,
so
all these
amazing.
things, you know,
for
me it was
besides the
always
music.
paraphernalia. For me, it never resonated with me. Ava enna potukra, enna jewelry, nothing. I'm still blind.
I used to even observe.
I saw, okay, jewelry. அது வரைக்கும் எனக்கு அது தோணவே தோணாது. That's me. For me, only music reverberates.
And
everything else is noise.
It's all part of the brand.
Part of the music.
I've come to Kachiris wearing 2 different jhumkas because I wasn't looking clearly.
That has happened to both of us.
If you can find the photos, you get a special prize from all of us.
And then Charu, who was on the violin, said, Akka, it looks like you mixed up the jhumkas.
நீயாவது ஜிம்முக்கு மாத்தி போட்டுட்டு வந்த, நான் ஒரு தோடே போட்டுக்கல.
பாடி பாடி கீழே விழுந்துட்டு.
உங்களுக்கு தான் அந்த பாட்டு உண்டாக்க, what jhumka jhumka girane. That's the song only for both of you then in that case. The new, but you've also had a very long association with Sundari Silks, yeah, Aruna ji?
Oh yeah, when they opened the shop, I was one of the first people who came here.
Oh, is that right? At this same very location,
very
in Nagar.
location, yeah. And I've got so many sarees from them, they're beautiful. They were known, always been known, and even now for their class and taste, you know, sophistication.
Very true.
I mean, you see the space, this ambience is so beautiful, right?
Really?
Beautiful pictures, art form.
In fact, this space right here where we're sitting apparently is called the Muhurtam. Correct me if I'm wrong, the Muhurtam space? The Muhurtam space, right? So, it's very sort of, I think Sundari Silks is also very closely tied
Very
with
conscious
Indian
of,
culture.
how they project themselves.
Yeah, especially with Margazhi and all that stuff.
their collection is really
Yeah.
Unique.
classy.
Unique.
Very
Classy,
aesthetically
very
pleasing,
classy.
yeah.
Aesthetics correct.
Correct. Yeah, especially if you're into like the arts. I think it's a store that very much aligns with the arts.
Correct.
With that, I think why don't we move on to some rapid fire questions and some quick answers.
I'm going to ask you.
You're going to ask me?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Good.
What's your favorite color?
What's my favorite? I'm wearing it blue.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
But do you have a favorite raga?
I don't think
I know.
You know, I was going to ask you that, but then I knew none of you would
ask
answer.
this question. It irks me really.
Yeah, right?
I don't really have a favorite.
How can you not have an answer when you see raga in front of you?
They are my favorite raga.
This is the favorite raga.
They are my absolute favorite. And
Isn't it so?
You absolutely are my favorite.
I put
but
the
we
answer
are-
in your mouth, but never did.
No. But the thing is, I'll go one step beyond. I'll say we are each other's favorite. Ansika, who's your favorite student? No, you won't say it on camera, is it? She always says. No, I'm their favorite student. They are my absolute favorite gurus, and I'm eternally grateful to them. I was just telling them the story about
So
how
we're
they
the
took me on.
aliens here.
Not at all.
exactly.
But you've become my closest friends over the last couple of years, actually, that I've gotten to know both of you. And in fact, even when I was learning with them, it was more of a friendship than guru shishya sort of relationship. And that's their greatness. That all of you, that you've taken me on as a friend, and shared so. I've had such memorable conversations with each one of you. I remember the lunch that we had, the interview session that we had, and the car rides that we've had, and all the phone calls and the Skype calls that we've had from back in the day. So I mean, I'm so grateful that you've shown me so much love, and you continue to do that with so many other
We're
artists.
proud of you, Abby.
That means the
Because
world. That means
classical music needs
Youngsters,
somebody
yeah.
young, smart, gorgeous, singing, gorgeous looking, and no, truly.
Who will put a new spin to the whole classical
and
music art
the
form.
young generation, they will connect thanks to that. So very, very happy about what you're doing. Very proud.
Thank you. That means
Good.
the world to me. Thank you so much. It means the world. Any other rapid fire questions for me?
For you,
Favorite raga? I'm sorry, I didn't.
what
answer.
has been the most difficult kriti for you to learn? What took you a long time?
What took me a long time was the Todi Navavarnam, which Ranjani Akka had taught me. And the reason I remember it so well was because I went back to class the next day. And I made sure that, if they teach me a song, I'll learn it by the next day itself. I'll notate it and I'll sing it. The next day she said, Pada the Pata. And I said, Nan, Shiriya, I didn't play. I'm so sorry. And you could see the disappointment in her face. I was broken at that moment. So I remember that. And she didn't say anything. She didn't yell, nothing. But you could just see, you could make out the disappointment in her face.
Cool guru.
And very much. But then ever since, but that kriti just took me a very long time. It's a very peculiar kriti, in Todi. It's a very
Most
standing
Navavarnams,
pose.
because they
A lot
are,
of them,
there's not much change in the charanam. They sound
Yeah,
alike.
yeah,
Every
yeah,
line
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
alike.
Correct.
And it just goes on and
gates.
on and on.
Yeah,
I mean, you wonder how this great composer
know.
Very
even
true, very true.
sat down to write it.
Yeah. Even the starting note of that song.
Even the Panchalika Kritis, Jampupate, it was an enigma for me.
Yeah.
Vikshitruda ella songume there is a lot of difficulty.
Yeah, mama.
All right. So, time for the rapid fire segment. If there was a book written on you and your journey in music individually, what would the title of that book be? Anjali, I'll start with you.
The only raga.
Love it. I love it. You spoke for both. Okay, for her as well. Okay. Gayatri?
Something with raga in it. I'll never make up my mind in a hurry. I need 10 options. I need to think about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that
I
we-
need a dozen options.
Oh gosh.
Well, then I would need 50 of them to decide.
It's difficult to say, really.
So, if we're doing this again next year in 2024, we'll come back to the same question and we'll have the.
But there's already been a book written on you already, no?
That's a coffee table book.
It's a book, nevertheless.
Yeah, it was Sampurna because it was like
so
a
it's
round,
already been
a circle.
She's already been there, done
That's a
that.
great title.
Sampurna.
That's a wonderful title.
She's been there, done it.
No, but I'm talking of a real book. That's coffee table book with more pictures and like a
It's a book.
life journey.
Lovely. What is? Can you recount any funny or embarrassing moment from a concert? I'll tell you mine. When?
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'll tell you mine. Where I was doing a concert back in the day, and by the time I finished the concert, my veshti had somehow disrobed. Before Sundari Silks gave me this Velcro veshti that I'm wearing right now. It's a brilliant idea. But before that, I didn't wear belts, and I
Did you
got
find out when you got
Yeah,
up and it
yeah,
stayed down?
completely. Yeah, I had no idea because the food was so it stayed down. That's why.
I wanted to ask it. I was itching to ask it.
But the good
I
thing
love
is,
such moments.
yeah. As an audience or as the person?
As an audience, of course.
Oh, thank God.
They must have had fun.
Taking on from that, I was singing in Kumbakonam and just finished singing Mohanam. And you know how people get up when the Tani Avastham starts, right? Nadula othar elundar. இந்த மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு. What will you do? அப்படின்னு loud-ஆ சிரிச்சிட்டேன்.
Oh, audience or there irundha.
And I was not singing, so I was watching.
Oh God.
Well, the most embarrassing moment I think was when I went to Germany.
I think you already answered that question with that
No,
statement.
I
but
want to say that's not
let's see
mine.
if you can top it
That's
with this
not
one.
mine. But no, this is really funny. Okay, just before the concert, we were supposed to change in the dressing room or green room, whatever you want to call it. And then I took out the lingerie, the petticoat, what you call,
Yeah.
on which the sari rests.
Okay.
Just that it was not a petticoat. It was Kaushik's pajama.
Kaushik is our son, for those of you who don't know.
What do I do? I wore it and kind of managed. I said, you know, we were supposed to walk in and take stage. I said, no, I'm sitting on stage.
You're right, that did top the other story. Great. Aruna ji?
Well, I was doing a concert and so I'm singing a Viritam and then I finished the Viritam and then I'm planning to sing a short 3-minute song as a sequel to the Viritam and that's where the concert is supposed to end. But the last word of the Viritam is Namaskaram.
Oh my God.
And the Namaskaram varthukulla, the time has this thing and you know that in certain concert hall, time na the curtain killa vilududna. So I'm singing Namaskaram and the curtain is half vandachu killa. So I'm like, what do I do now? And the audience is saying, don't put the curtain down, we want to listen more. I was in an embarrassing situation. The organizers, of course, it's not polite to, you know, ask them to put it back up. It's not done, especially when you're up. So finally, I just ad-libbed on the, I just said Namaskaram and I kept singing Namaskaram, Namaskaram and I did. And close the concert without that
Well, you
sequel
can only see
piece.
half her face then in that case when she's singing Namaskaram.
Your turn.
Oh, we have a lot of embarrassing moments. Especially something happened on stage. I don't remember the specifics, but I started laughing.
Oh, you do that? Yeah. I've seen
I,
that.
I just couldn't sing. I was looking at her, and
No,
that
I'll tell you
is
what
coming.
was, in the very early days, so the Anniki Mridanga vandu, he was not listening to the music and playing. It seemed like he was trying one particular sollu. From the beginning of the concert, it seemed to me that he was trying that sollu again and again. It never came. So the last la eppo varuvarona appo thirupi try panna varala. At some point we started laughing helplessly and the entire song we laughed. We couldn't sing.
Do you remember what song it was?
No, நிறைய சிரிச்சோம் எப்போ வருவாரு தான்
எப்போ வருவாரு?
சிரிச்சுட்டே இருந்திருக்கும். And obviously we knew we couldn't control this sometimes.
இப்படியாச்சு
சங்கதி தானா விழறது அப்படி பரபரன்னு விழறது.
Avil Darya Udurrathu.
எல்லாரும் நம்மள பார்க்கறாங்க. என்ன ஆச்சு? It was great.
I was playing violin for somebody who came from London or something, and she had a very strong accent. So அவ பாடுறது ரொம்ப ஃபன்னியாக இருந்தது எனக்கு. அதுவும் என்னோட தங்கை வேற உட்காந்துட்டாங்க. Actually she was sitting and my mother also is one of those gigglers.
Yeah.
So they're all laughing and I was trying to think of the saddest thing on stage and trying to keep a straight face. I looked at them and I started laughing.
But you have the violin to go down.
No, I looked like this, like that, and the Mridangam hostess is looking grief struck. And she was in oh my God, and I'm giggling. It was the funniest memories for me. Very embarrassing.
So very quickly, just choices between ragas. I know all ragas are very dear to us, but whatever you're feeling in the moment. Ranjani, Todi or Bhairavi today? What are you feeling like?
Todi.
Todi? Karar Priya or Purvi Kalyani?
Karahara Priya.
Yeah? Kalyani or Shankaraparanam?
Shankaraparanam.
Shankaraparanam. Aruna ji, Bihag or Hamir Kalyani?
Hamir Kalyani.
Yeah? Vasanta or Kalyana Vasantam?
Vasanta.
Reeti Gowda or Sahana?
Sahana.
Mohanam or Bahudari?
Bahudari.
Yeah. And lastly, Panturadi or Shanmugapriya?
Shanmugapriya.
Shanmugapriya.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, of course, please.
Kiravani or Sumedha Madhimam?
Kiravani.
Chandrakant or Surya?
Chandrakant. Okay, last question. You know, you've all known each other for so many years, and Gayatri, you've actually played for Sudhaji and Aruna ji
They're all
on the
part of
violins.
my early memories
Right.
of the season.
Any memories of that? And you know, I'd like to ask each of you what a few words about so Aruna ji, a few words about Sudhaji and your association with her and her music, and about Ranjani Gayatri about their music, and then likewise Sudhaji about Aruna ji and Ranjani Gayatri. We'll start with you, Aruna ji.
Sure. So as you know, I told you earlier also that my decision to come to Chennai and start performing here in a rather concerted way was a later one. So what do you think I did in the years before that? Every year I used to come to listen to concerts, and Sudhaji's concerts was one of the most important concerts that I would attend, and she was a huge inspiration.
Thank you.
Absolutely, the way, everything that she does, on stage, off stage, the way she comes, the way she sits, the way she starts, her RaGa rendition, I mean everything about Sudhaji's music has been instrumental in inspiring me to do what I'm doing.
Beautifully, beautifully. And about Ranjani Gayatri?
Ranjani Gayatri, well, I used to know them in Bombay.
Yeah, that's right.
So I have seen them.
I've learned from Aruna Mami.
See,
Many years ago.
Yeah.
So don't you?
We have
this is
been like
this is
her children.
interesting.
Yes.
Because this is like Guru, Sishya, Sishya, Sishya.
Correct.
Isn't
That's
that
right, that's right.
interesting?
We used to go from school to Mami's house, hang out with Maitreyi and Gayatri, borrow her books, any kind
Maitreyi
of
and
books.
Ranjani are the same
And
age.
Avatla, they used to have a big library. For us, it was huge.
Oh, is it?
But for Mami, it is not so huge, maybe. I don't know. But Enid Blyton, Hitchcock,
Mami was very strict. நீ borrow பண்ணனா எழுதிப்பே நீ திருப்பி கொடுக்கணும்னா நாங்க படிச்சு கிழிச்சிடுவோம். I used to get very scared. How am I going to explain the tone book? So Mami has been a very motherly figure to us.
Wow.
So such a huge inspiration.
And I love the evocative singing in her music.
Absolutely. And about Sudhaji?
Sudhaji is completely energy. You know, the way, it's a whole thing. If I should think of a diva, I think it
A
would
diva,
be her.
yeah.
Yes,
And
for
the
sure.
gorgeous, resplendent look, the rings,
Very proper, everything's very proper.
everything. You know,
Everything's perfect.
yeah.
She's so radiant. You know, when I used to play for her,
I remember the Kalarasna concert.
yeah, I was 17 or 18. I was very thin. Many people will have problem with saying I was thin because I still continue to be thin, but I was really skinny then. And you had those nylon davanis which never enhanced my looks at all. And I used to come there, looking in this little sad, sorry figure in that nylon davani, and looking because nariya enna ellam pottunde nana vaichu kattindu varuven, and here she was glowing, resplendent, and I felt like,
I still remember I came on the scooter with you, right? On the moped with you.
That's right, that's right.
Right?
we were neighbors, so we saw each other.
In Chennai, when you moved to Chennai?
Yeah,
Yes.
Abhiyamapuram.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
So, yeah.
No, and their father and mother, I must say a word about them.
Yeah.
Such amazing people. They are the ones that really ignited that. Yeah, and your grandmother. I was just telling Sudhaji before you that she
Yeah,
was
she's
a
a
woman
trooper, yeah.
full of fire, and so when one generation has to flourish, there's so many generations of people influence. That influence comes and the growth comes.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
Absolutely, very true. Sudhaji?
About Arunama, I definitely have to say I admire her grit, her courage.
Yeah.
That never to let go.
Tenacity. And
So that tenacity and resilience. Amazing. You've done so good for yourself, and I think you stand very tall as an example. Like Abby said earlier, tell us about your experience for us to learn from that. So I think
very true.
you are an
I
inspiration.
was inspired by you, of course, previous generation Santanam sir. You know, he was an artist who the early years couldn't, you know, relate to audiences, but then he rose like a phoenix.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's these inspirations that sort of, you know,
Truly.
yeah.
And about
so
them,
there you
oh
have
my
been
God.
I would like to repeat that you have been a great inspiration. Of course, these two.
Absolutely.
About
Absolutely.
Ranjani and
Can be.
Gayatri. I want to call you Ranjani and Gayatri, just not Raga.
I ennale raga alla solla mudiyadhu. Ranjani Gayatri da.
I think they really stormed. They took the world by storm, and they are still on that big wave.
Yeah,
So, God bless them.
amazing. It's all
Thank you so
you know, hard
much.
work and grace. Everything has to come together.
Yeah, like she said, you know, they never complacent. They never completely happy or satisfied with themselves.
Absolutely.
See, I think that is very important in any artist for that matter.
Very
you know?
true.
You should never get off a stage feeling, I've done my best.
Yeah.
Like you said, it always niggles in at my brain, you know, like what was not right in that raga? What did I miss out in the swara? What did I not do right? So, you know, there are lots of people who keep asking you on WhatsApp, how is the concert? How is the concert? How do you reply to them?
You don't know because it takes time for you to process.
You are our absolute seniors in every respect. You have been there, done that. You're such a shining example of how to balance everything together and keep going with consistency and be relevant in the world of music, because
So in today's context, 5 years you're out, down and out. That's the trajectory and that's the duration of each person's performance and their career span. Now in that, Sudha ji, 45, 40?
40 years plus. Yes.
40 plus and Aruna
And
mami
Aruna mami,
even more. 50 plus.
Like, although I didn't come to Chennai then, but I was performing everywhere.
enjoying music.
In fact, I went to Europe
toddlers,
first
we were-
before I even
we
came
were
to Chennai. You know, so it was a
So
different
it is
trajectory.
a humongous thing to have achieved, and it's like, wow, you know. They are
very
definitely role
inspirational to
models.
us. Yeah.
And not only that, knowing Aruna Mami from close quarters, the way she has handled so many things with so much grace. And Sudha Amma, of course, her never say die spirit.
That enthusiasm.
That enthusiasm,
She'll
energy.
get up in the morning and say, let's do it. And that she's like a beam of sunshine.
Very
And she
true.
has that effect, no, when you enter. It's absolutely
Very
true.
true.
Full of
So
beans.
sweet.
Very
Full
true.
of beans. And when I look at myself sometimes despondent over the smallest things, you know, I wish I could learn. I wish it was easy to learn from
Every
that.
day is a learning, Gaya, really.
That positivity.
that positivity.
So
Very
hard
true.
to come
I
by.
remember I
Right,
said
I
the
truly
same thing
need
to you.
to-
Remember when I came over and I said, I don't know how you're so full of life every day. You know, she'll send a voice note in the middle of the night and she'll still say, like, hi Abhi, how's it going? I'm like, where do you get this energy? Please
I
tell
know.
me. What are you taking? So
We all want our dabba of Chavanprash.
hugely inspiring, all of you, and thank you so very much. Any parting words, anything that you wish to see in the world of Carnatic music going forward?
We are in the cusp of season, so all of us are in the season mania.
Yeah.
We were coming in the car and we were singing or tuning a new song. So the raga is still running in my mind. So we are
Amazing.
all in the throes of the season fever.
That's amazing.
It's a very wonderful time.
Yeah. Time
for
to
a
meet
musician
and
to be. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Have
Listen,
this
absolutely
gup
absorb.
shop.
I think it's
absolutely.
history, really. I mean,
Yeah,
truly.
we do meet.
Yeah,
on and
but
off,
not
you
like
know, at
this.
the airport or at functions. Remember, we met at Charu's function.
Yeah.
We took a photograph. But then this sitting together
was
and, you know,
really
just
nice.
kind of.
For which we have to thank you.
Oh,
And Sundari Silks.
So thank you to Sundari Silks and Abby.
Abby.
Our pleasure, and thank you all for taking time out. I know how busy your schedules are, especially right now. But thank you so much for taking the time, and I think this was such a beautiful conversation we had, and I can't wait to do this year after year. The 2024 will be back here, and I want all the names for the
With a
books.
fresh. I just said fresh set of questions. So the book is outdated now.
Okay, fine. Next time you give me more questions in that case.
Maybe you
Yeah,
can
Abhi, I
turn it into
really
a-
had a lot of fun, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart to make this all happen at
Yeah.
such short notice.
Short notice, right?
Loved
So-
meeting my inspirations today.
Absolutely, and all my inspirations right in front of my eyes. I'm
Yeah,
most
as we
fortunate.
seek both of your blessings as we embark on a season.
Absolutely.
It's such a joy to be
rock
enveloped
it, rock
in
it,
your
Amma,
love
rock
and
it,
your
rock it,
good luck,
rock it,
positivity.
absolutely. God, all the best.
Pabani pabani paba mabani pani paba mama pamani pama sari pama pama gama pama ri sa pa ma ri sa ni pa ma ri sa sa ni pa ma ri sa pa ma pa sa ri sa pa ri sa ma ri sa pa ma ri sa ni pa sa ni pa ri sa ni pa ma Jagadana Jaya Janaki Prana Nayaka
Beautiful. What a wonderful ending to our evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for making this happen.
Thank you,
Thank
Guru.
you once again.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
all of
Thank
you.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sundari
thank
Silks.
you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye. Namaskaram to
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you for joining us.